Greetings. Greetings. This is Uncle Vigilante, and what? I unapologetically cover epic cash. Uncle Vigilante, not to be confused with the crypto vigilante. Why? Because here in epic cash land, we do not pump and dump. No, what we do is we educate, evangelize, and hold. Big difference. Anyway, welcome to Wednesday. This is kind of like our baby Epic Cash Live from Fridays. And I could not be more excited to be here today. And I have three guests on, returning guests. I have El McMurphy. He is coming to us from Honduras. I have Mother Trucker. She's coming together between two ditches, driving down the road, honking her horn. Come on, Mother Trucker. Can you give me one of those? No. Oh, I love that. And that's
out loud.
Yeah. And the person you heard in the background is none other than Max Freeman, founder of Epic Cash. Well, today we have a great show. And let me tell you, it's going to start off with a PSA, a public service announcement. There has been a lot of scammers over this last week, and we're going to talk about why, but who have been trying to bilk people out of their money, their Epic, and these bastards are getting really, really clever. So you're going to want to pay attention to what we're talking about, because you know what they say, but by the grace of God go I. And my heart goes out to the people this week who had great intentions to be able to donate not only their time, but their treasure to whether it's Change Now or the upcoming giveaways. And what's happening is scammers swoop in their DMs, impersonating Enrique or Mother Trucker or me or Max, and they get their pockets picked. And it's very, very sad, but we're going to help you try to avoid that in the future. So please don't just hand wave this. Even if you're crypto savvy, please listen to this because it's very important. But by the grace of God, go I. Okay. So, and then what we're going to talk about is we've seen some amazing price action on Epic Cash. We're going to talk about that. But more than that, Max is going to put on his Nostradamus hat, and we're going to talk through, what are the force multipliers that are going into effect right now, and why should we expect that this run is going to continue all the way through our all-time highs through $10. Really, really excited. Those of you who have participated over the last couple of weeks, you have to be really, really happy. And then finally, Anthony Pompliano, peace be upon him. Anthony Pompliano did an amazing infomercial on Epic Cash. And Max and I are going to walk through that. We're going to share it with you. And we're going to play a little and pause a little, play a little and pause a little. You don't want to miss it. That's going to be the second half of the show. So, it boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. It truly does that, the analytics of my channel show that the average viewing time is 5 minutes. I'm like, WTF? Who tunes in for 5 minutes? That's like just barely gets you past greetings. So if that's you, why not hang around? You might learn something. We might help you become rich. What do you think? Okay. All right, let's pivot right now. Mother Trucker and El McMurphy. El McMurphy, I'd like to start with you. Can you give us an overview of kind of some of the things that have happened this last week in particular, and
Sure.
how they happened and how it impacted some community members, please?
Sure. Well, as you know, we've been raising funds for the last few weeks for the Change Now and the coin store listing. And what has happened is that a scammer impersonating me has DM'd people and told them, hey, would you like to donate? Here's the address. And so those people, not knowing and not confirming, who the real McMurphy is, they've sent him the coins. And so, I talked to these people, and unfortunately, the scammer was really good. He used the same, profile pic. He used pretty much exactly the same text for the Twitter handle that I have. Instead of using an L, a lowercase L, he used an uppercase I. So
Jeez.
both characters look exactly the same. It would be really difficult to tell the difference. And so, people saw that and they donated the coins to him, so they got ripped off. And that happened to 4 people. And, it's very unfortunate because, first of all, what I always urge people is to verify who they're talking to. There's many ways that scammers, operate, and they can get more sophisticated. I've been close to being scammed at times when like someone has asked me if I know someone who wants to do an OTC, and I try to help them out, and then like they can get really really smart about it.
Yeah.
But for me, the most important thing is to double check who you're talking to. If you're unsure, contact someone from the community and say, hey, is this person the real one I'm talking to? They can forward you a message. They can pin the message of the community.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
I have an idea. What if somebody took a screenshot, like if you were DMing, took a screenshot, clicked on the picture, saw the profile, took a screenshot of that, and then just went into Epic Cash and did @LMcMurphy and said, hey, you just DM'd me, and add that. Can you confirm that this is you?
Yes.
And then you would certainly know if you DM that person. You would say affirmative. It wouldn't @LMcMurphy go to the scammer, right? I believe. And then the whole community can kind of develop this muscle of doing that, to where that's just a check and balance. So, we can't be too overly cautious here is the message.
No, and I think what you say, it's important, and that's a very good measure. And another thing we can do is, administrators pin a message, just a list of the admins with their handles. And, if anybody has any doubts, they can just go through the pinned messages and look at that list of admins and, click on one of the names, and that'll take them directly to the official account.
That's right. That's right. Because that pin message is not going to include any scammers.
It's impossible to modify, and it will.
That's a great idea. So I don't know who wants to ride point on that, but that needs to be done in all of our primary channels: Freeman U, Epic Cash, trading, mining, etc. So let's rally behind that. That's an excellent idea. So Mother Trucker, I mean, some people are impersonating you, and instead of O for in mother, it's a lowercase, or it's a 0. And at first glance, it looks amazingly like your profile. These bastards are really good. Yeah.
Yeah, they take my picture straight off of my profile and use that, and then they're DMing people about things. They see me as an admin on the very top, because they'll go into a channel, they'll see that I'm an admin. So that's why they're copying my profile and sending it out. So first of all, I'd like to say I drive. I'm not driving right now. I'm sitting on the side of the road. So I'd like to say I don't like to DM, period. If it's an important thing that I don't want to say in a channel, I'll DM like Uncle Vigilante or Max or Enrique or Sky King or somebody, if it's necessary to DM. But I don't like to DM at all.
Yeah. So in general, certainly none of us admins are going to do an outreach directly to anyone. Right. First and foremost.
Right. Never.
Second, I just always have to get this in, people. When a hot chick DMs you and just says hello, just don't even waste your time. Just delete that thing immediately. Develop that muscle memory, because nothing good comes from that. If you did start to engage with that person, I guarantee you it's a dude named Boris that's 5'8", has a big pot belly, and he has probably Cheetos in his butt crack, as he's in his mom's basement working on scamming. So again, another PSA. So, all right. Bottom line is,
I want to say, be careful with your money. Don't be so frivolous, I guess is the word, to just give it, until you have double, triple checked who you're talking to.
But again, my heart goes out to all of these people because these folks are very good. And from a timing standpoint, we're doing these community raises. So, I just want to share with everybody out there who has been impacted. You have my compassion. You have my empathy because I really, really feel bad for you. And, we're always going to try to do the right things. Enrique, did you ever arrive at a conclusion specific to the EIOU or the EIOU? Shit, what is it?
EIOU and ECR bonus. That's still being discussed in the governance group. So
okay.
We're going to have to decide how to help these people out and how to avoid this kind of situation in the future.
And the concern there, right, as we go back and forth, is there's also a way where someone might be able to scam themselves. Wink, wink, I got scammed. Yes. And that's what we're being hyper vigilant on in the governance group, is trying to determine. I mean, at the end of the day, there may be a victim that frankly just remains a victim. We might be able to do something, not in getting coins back, but maybe being able to issue EIOUs. But look, that we don't want to make that a habit as we move forward, which is why we're doing this today. So we can point back to this and say, please pay attention. Max Freeman, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, let me just touch on that. So one of our contributors was involved with another project where they tried to set up a victims relief fund for stuff like this. And he told me some horror stories about how people were getting really creative with like photoshopping evidence and just really elaborate screenshots and messages. I mean, if these guys put half as much work into making an honest living as they apply their creative evil genius to scamming people, they'd be really successmming. So it's a real shame, but that type of evil exists out there. So we don't want to invite future problems. Scammers are an ongoing problem, not just with crypto in general and not just with us in particular, but in the financial system at large. My dad is a real estate broker and he's been around the block, and he's a really, really skeptical guy. And he told me the other day that he got burned for $100 grand on a fake wire transfer thing that just was months and months, just a super elaborate scheme. Blows my mind. I myself, the battle scars that I got to where I am in crypto with learning was very expensive and painful. So I probably got dozens and dozens of stories of how I personally have been burned and learned what not to do. So it's an ongoing problem. We can always do better, and we will. We need to find some way that doesn't create more negative consequences than it solves. If we create problems for hundreds of new people to help the first few today, or in the future for the first few today, then that's no good. So join t.me/epicdao for that discussion and have give your 2 cents about what we might do and what we might not do. There's a huge amount of effort going into helping people get educated. You can't save people from themselves, and we don't want to put too much friction in place. And ultimately, that's kind of the point of crypto, is to be a responsible adult and be in charge of your own stuff, because there is no customer service to call and there's no reset button. But that doesn't mean that we can't salve the wound somehow. So join Epic DAO, help us figure this out. And at the end of the day, we call it Freeman Family for a reason. So we're sorry that happened, and we'll make the best of it and turn lemons into lemonade as best we can, as we always do.
And it's t.me Epic DAO, and DAO is not DOW, it's DAO.
Yeah, DAO like DAO, not like the makers of Agent Orange.
Right. Okay. MT, Enrique, thank you for being here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Stay safe, both of you.
Right. You too.
Right.
Love your
Dude.
shirt, by the way.
Thank you. Hey, MT, I have crappy memory. Who is it in our community who's selling these?
Oh, I ordered one too. I'm sorry,
I
DK.
know. Is it Etta? No.
We have three people that are selling Epic Cash shirts. I ordered mine. I haven't got it yet.
All right. If whomever out there wants to
Put
DM
it in the chat. Yeah.
DM me your contact info, I'll include that in a link in the show notes down below, because I will tell everyone this is awesome. Now, hint from Heloise here is I usually wear a 2X and I ordered a 3X because if they're cotton, they're going to shrink. I am so glad I ordered a 3X. I even think that when I wash this, it's going to shrink to where it's going to feel like a 1X. So, you know, I might have ordered a 4X if they had one, but, or just wash it and on cold. I don't know, but they do run a little small. So keep that in mind. If go ahead.
I ordered two like that for my husband. He loves wearing the Epic Cash. And then I ordered the V-neck ones for the ladies from the other guy. Two different people. Yeah.
Aren't you ladies special? That's just special.
Yeah.
All right. Stay safe, MT.
Thank you. Bye.
Max Freeman, you in the house?
Yes, sir. Was just on mute. Always on these live streams. I get a lot of work done when I'm not having to speak. So
I know you do. And we're grateful that you're able to multitask. So, Max, let's just kind of revisit this past week. It was kind of a whirlwind. I mean, it was like not only did the price of Epic, you know, from the beginning of February, we got to one point in this recent run to where we were up 372%. And it was just like a whoa, you know, Uncle V needs to go on a weekend retreat more often, because when I came out of it, I was like, whoa, look at this. So what happened, Max?
So all it took to achieve that marvelous green candle day recently, when everybody got super excited, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was like 40, 50, 60% for the day, something like that, was a single buyer with about 2.7 BTC, I think it was. So what is that, about $60,000-$70,000, something like that.
Right.
And it just goes to show the sensitivity of the marginal price discovery. So the way it works is every day there's 5,760 coins that get created through mining, and most of those miners go to sell. They view it as an income generating thing to pay the bills. They're not in the business of speculating on coin prices for the most part. So that sell pressure is always there. And then of course, existing holders, Epic is up, what, 64,000% over the past 3 years, something like that. So if you've been holding on for a long time and you want to indulge, buy a car, a house, you know, pair of shoes, whatever, then that's always there. But what happens is, so we've been in a steady downdraft from almost $7 to the nadir of 30 cents over the course of, what was that, December 2021.
13 months.
Now we're in early 22. I think it's 13, 14, 15 months, something like that, a little over a year. And so naturally, if you are reading the tea leaves and you've got some money on the side and you're thinking about what to do, well, wouldn't I just wait? I mean, this thing's been going down for over a year. Let me just wait. It's 30 cents today. I might be able to pay 25 or even 20. If I bought 3-6 months ago, I'd be feeling like a sucker, because my wife would be mad at me for losing half our money, and we should have just invested it with Bank of America to get a 0.5% yield, that sort of thing. So that psychology is always there. But then when it turns around and we're on the up and up, then it becomes, well, wait, it's only going to be more expensive if I buy later. So let me zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. Big picture. Okay, I'm paying a buck or under $2, let's say, for something that used to be $7. And since then, we have a new mobile wallet, which is now in version 2. The teething troubles will all be done by the end of the month. Diego and his entire team and many other people are working on that, all hands on deck around the clock, to solve that. So if you're having any challenges, don't fret, they will be solved soon. We've upgraded to version 5 of the GUI. We've upgraded to version 3.32 on the core protocol, which overhauls the underlying wallet and enables large volume services to do huge numbers of transactions. It used to be facing a scale problem at tens of thousands of transactions per wallet. Now it can easily support millions and beyond. So we're prepared from growth in that respect. We just passed 2,500 community members in the main group. We just passed 5,000 known holders on VTEX. Now, some of those aren't active today and may have sold out, but that's a representative picture of how many have cycled through. And that doesn't include people that haven't touched VEET, which is a lot. So we're probably pushing 10,000 or so in terms of number of people that are on the journey.
Max,
yep.
How many BTCs are there allegedly out there, BTC holders? I mean, if you think about, we only have 5,000 and that includes people who've dropped off.
Well, let's call it 10, including the anecdotally based on the number of nodes and miners and computing devices that are on. So let's just call it 10 to make the math easy. But there are 150 million Orange Coin owners. So
Okay,
10,000 versus 150 million.
And we recently had this run with, basically 2.7 BTC. Let's call it 70 grand. And what's interesting is, this is just boggles my mind, is that 70 grand took us from a market cap of like 8 million to 14 million. How does that work, Max? I mean, I don't understand the math. It's just like, holy cow. If 10 BTC came into our lives, tomorrow, our market cap would be $100 million, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. So you can look at it as in terms of number of coins. So the number of people that own BTC that look on their account statements and say, oh, I have some assets here with Coinbase or something. The number of people that actually hold coins on the network is much, much lower, because something almost 100%, definitely north of 90. I don't know whether it's 95 or 99, but somewhere in there, people overwhelmingly choose to let third parties custody their crypto. We'll talk about why that's an issue for those guys and why it's a bullish catalyst for us here in a sec. But basically, so you've got 150 million people out of a total population of 330 million that own crypto. So about 40% own the number one asset. In terms of how many BTC exist that could get loaded into that chamber to be fired downrange, 2.7 was enough to add the better part of $10 million to our market cap, just because we're so small. Well, there's 19.2 million coins that exist on the BTC ledger, and those currently represent 427 billion worth of value. So it took $70,000 to add almost 10 million to our market cap. There's 400 billion of potential. At any time, those people could wake up and decide to buy. We were almost 100 million back when we had hardly anything. So it's hard to predict where we'll go on our next growth spurt, but I think that's a floor rather than a ceiling.
I will tell you, I know for a fact that there are some very, very crypto savvy people who are in our community, who have been in our community, but have kind of been on the sidelines, in the shadows, if you will. And I just think that we have evolved enough to where these folks, they started acting over the last couple of weeks, and they're starting to invest and pivot, their holdings. And that just warms my heart, because these are really, really smart people. And that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing people, not necessarily get off the sidelines with, $1,000 or $2,000, and that's great. I really recommend that to anybody on a personal level. But you're talking about people who may have, that have millions of dollars in crypto, and now they're just like, okay, I've drunk the Kool-Aid. I see the vision. Now it's time to pivot. And I recognize, I may have missed getting in on Bitcoin at under $10, but here's my chance. Hold my beer. And so they're coming out of the woodwork, Max. He got a phone call.
They really do. I mean, so I talk to about hundreds of people a day, certainly thousands per week, and a lot of times it'll be months or even years before I hear back from people. Incidentally, if I DM you, which I often do, then just I won't ask you for money, or if I do, if I'm really in a pinch, ask me to come on video. Hey, I'm in jail. Can you bail me out? No, I'm just kidding. But I do reach out. Actually, I'm going to stop doing that because sometimes people don't respond, and I always have to go, no, this is not a scam. Go validate me in the main group, something like that. So I'll start mentioning in the main group if I want to talk to somebody, say, hey, Alex, see DM, and then have them initiate it that way. That's probably safer. But right. Yeah, so whenever we go for a run, it's amazing. I never know who's paying attention. From my prior industry, I used to run a company that deals with printer cartridges. And I had no idea so many people in that industry are Epic owners. I got 2 messages this week. My coins are on Bitmart and they're refusing to let them off. What? You bought on Bitmart and you left them there? You just ignored it? And not small quantities either. I'm like, oh my God, come on, man. You did. They should
be able to get those off, shouldn't they?
Ideally, hopefully. I mean, we'll see. That technically they should be able to, but anyway, the point is, a lot of people are kind of watching with one eye. Just check it every once in a while. I went to see my local family doctor the other day, and he surprised me by mentioning what the price was. And I'm like, "You doc, I didn't even know you were paying attention." I gave him, I don't know, 5 coins back 2 years ago or something like that. And a lot of times there's initial skepticism, or it really takes a while to warm up. In my case, I knew about crypto for many years before really taking the time to go down the rabbit hole and pay attention, and then finally take that proactive step to get involved myself. So there's just a lot of latent potential out there. And when it does come, people are looking at an asset that's up 64,000%. We're only aware of one other asset in the entire crypto space of 22,000 that's outperformed us, which is Shiba Inu. If there's any other ones out there that people know about that have been better than us, then shoot McMurphy a message so we can add that to our analysis. So it takes time to gain people's trust, and we still have a lot to prove. But as we tick off those boxes, then over time, the folks feel more comfortable to step in. And as they come in, they're facing 2 factors. Number one, we have a halving in 3 months. So the daily supply of coins goes to 2,880 instead of 5,760. Now that's only about 2 years. In 2025 is our next halving. So within a little over 2 years, the amount of Epic that's out there to buy hitting the market every day goes down by 75%. And those of us who are in the boat already, I don't know about you, but I'm not tempted by $3 or $4 or $7 or 12 or whatever. I mean, this is a long time going into this.
That's why when I opened, I said that we don't pump and dump. We educate, evangelize, and hold. So the educate and evangelism part is near and dear to my heart. And frankly, it's my why. It's my why with the Epic Cash community. Max, I want to share with you, just think about this, if you will. There's a lot of crypto savvy people who are privacy coin enthusiasts, rightly, and just we're up 64,000%, and we didn't even have to get permission or the approval of the crypto vigilante. And why am I bringing that up? Is think of this: we have been advancing against the headwinds of a very aggressive, I'm going to call it enemy, who is just out there, putting bullshit into the ether. And calling us shitcoin and dropping conversation within their chats. Anytime Epic Cash is brought up, people are either banned or banned. And but what I am understanding is there are people who are prominent in that community who are growing a set. Sorry, but you know, their balls are dropping, right? And hey, you get what you get with Uncle V. And they're starting to be a little bit more aggressive in there to tell people to wake up, that we are not a shit coin. And, you know, don't just hand wave Epic Cash. Can you tell me, Max, I understand that within the Crypto Vigilante channel or something that we're being discussed, that there's some kind of a video out there to where, is it a Tim Mullen or somebody is talking?
Yeah. So go to vigilante.tv. We're up there on the first page as of 3 hours ago. They'll probably take it down. Actually, I don't even know if they can, because they have syndication deals. Josh Sigurdson is another one of their contributors who is a supporter of ours, and I know he's got us some exposure on there. So they're doing their best to hold us back, but increasingly that's not working, as the evidence is plain for all to see. So Tim Moen was the candidate for the Libertarian Party of Canada recently, and we did about a 30-hour segment.
Oh, wow.
And this is the second time I've talked to him. I think the first one might have been in 2020, early 2021, something like that. It's been a long time. And like many people, he kind of, he kind of fell off the radar a little bit. He was busy trying to become president and had other priorities. But people do take notice in the midst of one of the most brutal crypto winters that the world has ever seen. We are just going from strength to strength. And so I've talked for years about how we have to earn the respect of people to take us seriously, and that's finally happening. So Tim Moen, thank you for that. Your oar is wet, fine sir. I also spoke to another lady who runs a YouTube channel called Joey. So she's putting that out soon. So if you're a content creator and want to do something like that, my Calendly link, calendly.com, Max Freeman 4. Always happy to do stuff like that, or shoot me a DM. We can all do our small part each day to raise awareness.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing that. Okay, very good. But yeah, I mean, as more and more of those folks, I know that they're, and again, I feel your pain out there. We're getting a lot of people that have finally come into the community. I get a lot of DMs. I have gotten a lot of DMs of people who were part of the, you know, the pirate chain movement, who have really just finally conceded and recognized that the time is now to pivot. You know, it's at what, 30 cents, I think, maybe 39. I'm not sure, but let's call it, I think it's, somebody said it was down to 30 cents. And it's just not too late. We did the analysis before that. If you take that, pivot that into Epic Cash, what the price of Epic would have to get to for you to totally recover everything you lost within Pirate. And I think people are really starting to pay attention. And not only that, they're grateful. They're appreciative. And you know, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just checking. So it's 31 cents, but that's actually deceiving because the market cap is 61 million. And if you look on CoinGecko, it says that the volume is 224 million, or no, 224,000. Wow, it was hundreds of millions back during the pump and dump phase. So these things really evaporate. If you go to sell right now on TradeOgre and you want to get 31 cents, 30 cents. If you're willing to take 30 cents for your coins on TradeOgre, you can sell $888 worth. You can sell $900 at that price. So you think you have 61 million of value? No. If people want to go sell, if somebody wants to sell $70,000 of Epic, like they did, like someone bought the other day, we can show the buy book in there right now. There's demand stacked and stacked and stacked. You will find a buyer, and you get a healthy price. So if you want to sell Pirate right now, you're not even going to get 30 cents. It's a completely artificial Potemkin village type of market. And we saw this many, many times. Back when we launched, there was another fork of Grin using Mimblewimble called MWC. And they did a giant pre-mine. They hired a bunch of promoters for marketing and did all the standard 2017 type techniques to make number go up. And when our market cap was under 50,000, they were at 300 million. Now today, I think they topped out at $20 a coin, something like that. And now it's some number of cents, something like that. I mean, you can't even sell it. I think it was $60 of volume yesterday or something like that. So if you're looking at your portfolio and going, I used to have 20 grand and now I only have 1,000. Should I just wait until it goes back up? Well, you should be thinking about protecting that 1,000, because right now you can sell $1,000 worth. You may not get the price you want, but you can get something. I'm just going to check the current quote on MWC. So MWC is 76 cents. And in February 2020, it was $30. So $30 down to 76 cents. Yesterday's volume was $104. This thing during the boom time, they printed 142 million in a day of volume, and now it has $104.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And there's no bids.
There's no bids. You can't even sell it. I just looked. There's no bids.
I wanted to share that I got a DM from somebody who's been watching us from afar for a long, long time, and he told me that he's finally kind of not giving in, but he's conceding the fact that he needs to go ahead and make the move and pivot into Epic. And I was like, that's awesome. And he told me that really what the reason why was, he said, you and Max and the team, if you've been nothing, you have been incredibly consistent with delivering content over the last 2 years. Like the Rock of Gibraltar, we can count on you. And you know what? So Max, thank you for being here from the beginning. You have really blessed this channel with your engagement all the way back to the beginning. And I really think it's paying off at this point in time. So what I want to do is this video, let me share sound. And I'm going to go here. So this is Anthony Pompliano. Now, the name of today's live stream is Anthony Pompliano's Epic Cash infomercial. And I'm hearing you type there, boss.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Let me take the volume off of here. But it's actually titled you can find it on YouTube under Pompliano. It's the Bitcoin risk no one is talking about. And we're going to play this. It's only 3 minutes, 18 seconds. I'll stop it periodically just to get some engagement from you, Max. But this is really, really important, everybody. I mean, maybe one of the most important videos, even though it's 6 months old. This is one that just came to my attention. Thank you, Dark Star. Shout out. I believe it was you. But this here, the reason why I call it a great Epic Cash infomercial is everything they're talking about of what Bitcoin needs is Epic Cash. It's just right in front of us. And so anybody out there who has any kind of outreach, connectivity, ability, if you can network us into Pomp to be able to talk, point to this live stream right now. And actually, what are we, about 40 minutes in? But Pomp, we'd love to have a serious conversation with you. Max, I know you would love to get Pomp on the DNA of Bitcoin podcast, but we're going to talk about this because there is a solution, Pomp. There is a solution, and it's called Epic Cash. So let's walk through this together, Max. I'm going to check the sound, and if it blows your ears, I will adjust.
If I was a government official and I was hell-bent on just completely stomping out Bitcoin, and and I was based in America, could they do what they did to Tornado Cash and just say the entire Bitcoin blockchain is now on the OFAC list and anyone who touches it? I mean, theoretically they could, right? Theoretically they could. Like, I've never heard anyone talk about that. No. But yeah, you and every other lawyer would be lined up outside the court ready to like have a field day. But it does open up. No, it opens up this is an attack vector for any protocol. And so every protocol and all developers working on these systems, communication systems for transferring value or just communication systems in general, should be rigorously testing and having really serious conversations about whether or not their technologies are sufficiently decentralized to survive something like that. Bitcoin will survive something like that. It'd make it difficult for us in the States to...
No, what's that, Max? Okay, talk.
No, sorry, it won't. No, it's not going to survive. This is the Achilles heel, and so that's a very hopium-y statement. Nobody can imagine that that the king could possibly stumble, but AOL was once on top. MySpace was on top. Friendster was on top. Today, Google's on top, but they're really concerned about, and rightfully so, about ChatGPT. Things move on. So of those 19.2 million coins, over half have been circulated through the Silk Road. And so there's actually legal precedent where coins have been frozen on the basis of they once went through the Silk Road. Now that was selectively applied. And the argument here of a gentleman like this is that there's a loaded gun pointed at the temple at point blank range to BTC, but I can't imagine they would fire it. That's essentially what it comes down to. They could fire it, but they're probably not going to happen. Whereas in our case, there is no gun anywhere in sight. So you can, ignorance is a choice in an age of information. You can ignore this risk and hope that it will probably be okay. Or you can take proactive steps to eliminate that risk from your life and not have to worry about it. So to me, this reminds me of the hubris of 2007 when people were trading CDO cubes or cubed mortgage-backed securities, and buying houses on the theory that real estate can only go one direction, which is up.
So are we sufficiently decentralized, Max, Epic Cash?
So Bitcoin Core has nodes in 90 countries. We have nodes in 129. BTC development is dominated by a company called Blockstream, and we have a much more decentralized structure of how the ecosystem gets evolved over time. 90+% of BTC owners do so through centralized intermediaries such as Coinbase or Binance or Kraken or Gemini or Bitfinex or any one of those. And so if you use those centralized services, you are vulnerable to pressure. If you live in the European Union, last year, Coinbase started requiring KYC on so-called self-hosted wallets. So if you withdraw from Coinbase to an address and it's owned by somebody else, you have to ask your friend for their passport and send it to Coinbase. The machinery is in place to designate any BTC that exists could be added to the OFAC blacklist immediately. There's no process of discussion or like in Congress they have to vote on stuff. No, just some person in some dark bowels of a bureaucracy somewhere decides to say, this address, those coins can no longer be spent. And all the chain analysis companies take orders from that. They update their systems. That same day, you will not be able to spend those coins. And not only can you not spend those coins, but if you try to mix them, if you try to move them, if you associate those with any other address, then those coins that came into contact or near through network analysis, those are tainted too. So you really, your wealth is just as vulnerable and censorable, if not more, than in the fiat banking system. And it's not just the US government. So the US government can shut down your financial account with a US regulated financial institution. But the Chinese Communist Party can't do that. The Chinese Communist Party also has a loaded gun at the forehead of BTC. So there's one at the temple and one at the forehead, let's say. And the way that happens is through the ASIC mining gear that has to phone home constantly to get pinged. And if it doesn't, then it stops working. That's Antbleed from a few years ago, if anybody wants to check that out.
So Max, war game with me. Somebody has some BTC, and what you just said, and let's say it came from the Silk Road, that it could be tracked back there, okay? And this is right before the powers that be want to get ornery. And they send that BTC over to Vite. They take that VTC, they buy Epic 002, and then they proceed to get those coins onto our native chain, onto the GUI wallet, or ultimately be able to send it over to Epic Pay to where it's now on the layer 1 Epic protocol. So what you just said, any coins that come in contact with that, does that then mean that the Epic Cash coins are at risk of being put on that same list because they came in contact with that shitty ass BTC?
No,
Okay.
because Epic has no addresses. The addresses that you see on Epic Box are stealth addresses. They're temporary. That's not stored anywhere. It's just a momentary path to get from one wallet to another. So no, when people opt into Epic, when you step into out of the light and into the dark, you can't do that anymore.
That was, by the way, everybody, a softball question. I knew the answer to it, but this is really, really important. If you're a BTC holder, and if any of what Pomp and this guy are talking about is concerning to you, that gun to the temple, then we're just saying that there is an alternative to be able to protect your wealth. All right, let's continue.
Transact, but it would survive. The technology and infrastructure would survive. Yeah. The U.S. user could be quote unquote frozen out, right from this. What it then brings into is this whole thing, like decentralization is really freaking important. It's really important, right? But just because you have the decentralization, that protects the protocol. That protects the tech itself. Right. It doesn't necessarily have the same impact on the individuals because they are still subject to being individual citizens. And this is where you need base layer privacy.
Boom. Boom. What did he say next? Base layer privacy. Does Bitcoin have base layer privacy?
Absolutely not. And it can never have.
Does Epic Cash have base layer privacy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Base layer
anonymity and yes.
So if you're and I find Pomp very entertaining as well, but if you're listening to somebody like this, now that video was from 6 months ago. I just saw it today and I went and popped in a comment and I said, it is amazing how Pomp so studiously avoids acknowledging that Epic even exists. You know that you're receiving a marketing message or propaganda from a sales rep rather than somebody who endeavors to educate you. If they hear something like that 6 months ago, and then they don't bother to go do any research or find us or engage, or I know people have been popping comments to him on Twitter and videos and stuff. Pompliano has probably ignored 100, if not 500 messages from Freeman family members over the years. So the ostrich strategy of the orange coin pushers is showing here.
Well, just because I just think that there's something to this. If you watch my cursor, I'm going to make an E, P, I, C, and then I'll come dot the I. So now there's Epic on his heart, Max. Okay, here we go.
Bitcoin's doesn't score great on that. There are tools that you can use that are similar to mixers but are different. Coin join tools and things like that.
Do we have coin join, Max?
So CoinJoin in BTC is an optional step that if you jump through additional hoops, you can use. That is integrated into every transaction by default and cannot be turned off in Epic. It's automatic. Now, I would take issue with the way he's describing that, because he's saying, well, anonymity is available on BTC if you want it. But no, it's not, because if you mix your coins with someone else, you have absolutely tainted them. The whole reason people use those mixers is because they're dirty. There's no reason, I mean, most people wouldn't do that unless they had something to hide. If you think about it, privacy for everyone all the time is not suspicious. It's just we have an HTTPS network instead of an HTTP network. But if you're,
Max,
if you're,
do you know when I go into the airport restroom and I see doors that they're not clear, I can't see through them. I've never one time in my life been suspicious that, what do you mean I can't see through that? Right? That's the analogy, folks.
Yeah, it's kind of absurd. I mean, if you walk to the man on the street and say, show me your bank account statement, let's log into your online banking and review your spending history here together, fine sir. Nobody would respond to that saying that's okay. And yet, because of the limitations of technology, when this blockchain revolution first got started, somehow that has become accepted at the default. And the orange Kool-Aid drinkers are saying transparency is a benefit, and they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. So CoinJoin is something that's automatic, baked into the protocol of Epic. It's an optional step that you choose to use at your great risk and peril in BTC, because those coins become not spendable instantly to any type of centralized exchange. I would say probably 90 plus, if not 100% of centralized exchanges. Pretty much everyone except TradeOgre will not accept coins or BTC coins from a mixer. And if you use BTC on TradeOgre, then other exchanges that let's say you withdraw from TradeOgre, you take it to your ledger, and then you bring it to Coinbase, Coinbase will also refuse those coins. Anything that's gone through TradeOgre is now kind of forever scarred. It has the scarlet letter on their chest forevermore.
But if somebody sent their coins, their BTC from TradeOgre to Veet and exchanged them for Epic Cash, no problem.
Well, yeah, Epic is a complete solution against that kind of stuff. All Epic are completely identical and fungible and interchangeable, and there's no way of distinguishing one from another. So at a protocol layer, this
is kind of a PSA as well, public service.
Yep. Yeah, so the way it works is every time, so there's up to 1,000 transactions in an Epic block, and every coin that is involved in that block in any transaction is mixed with every other coin, and it's also mixed with the 4 new ones that are coming out. Today it's 4, it used to be 8, before that it's 16, after that it'll be 2, and then 1, and then 0.15625, I think it is. Once you scramble the eggs, you can't unscramble them and determine that this fraction of this yolk came from this egg over here. No, it's just one homogeneous mass.
It's an omelet. I mean, scrambled eggs. Okay, let's continue.
You can obscure and regain, forward anonymity in your transactions. And those types of tools are desperately needed, because that's the piece, like you said, that's going to allow individuals to continue to use a decentralized network. There are privacy coins and privacy protocols that have that built at the base layer, and they make different trade-offs that Bitcoin's made. But that's the...
have we made any trade-offs to be able to provide full privacy at the base layer, Max?
Yes, absolutely. So transactions are interactive. Sending a transaction on any other blockchain is a 1-step process, whereas with ours, it's a 3-step process that requires a ping process from sender to receiver, back and forth. And
that's due to Mimblewimble?
That's due to Mimblewimble. If you're experiencing teething troubles with the Epic Pay wallet, that's what that's about, is that handshake process. There's some weird bugs that occasionally are popping up that they're tracking down, where sometimes it fails and it's not clear why that handshake isn't happening. If you use the CLI or the GUI wallet or some of the mining services, that's all working as normally. It's just the extra service that was added on top to support Epic Pay is having some hiccups. So the interactivity is definitely a trade-off. But the bigger thing is that centralized exchanges generally will not offer assets that offer their users privacy. Coinbase and crypto.com, as an example, have a firm policy. Just if an asset has any privacy at all, they don't want to touch it. And why? Because the compliance headaches, they're regulated, they're under scrutiny. The examiners that come in there on a annual or quarterly or monthly basis to say, how are you preventing bad guys from doing bad stuff on your systems if you have a privacy asset? They say, oh, we don't like that. So that is definitely a trade-off, and it will remain a bit of a damp blanket over our smoldering fire in terms of really achieving our destiny as the #1 coin until we have the E1 solution. And so that's a complete solution to that. It involves a little bit of extra friction where you need to wrap your Epic coins into E1 tokens, but then they can go anywhere any other crypto can go. So those trade-offs are just temporary issues, not permanent, not permanent restrictions. Those are really the only ones.
Okay.
That's the key. That's what's needed is privacy and anonymity. And the problem is we live in this, Bank Secrecy Act regime where there's know your customer regulations, and it's really hard to participate in these protocols, these cryptocurrency digital asset protocols, without going through these KYC processes and these KYC gates now. Like it's really difficult. You can do it, but it's not user friendly. And that's where, and I'm not an engineer. If I were, that's what I'd be working on. I'd be working on, those privacy tools, anonymity tools that, help us and help individuals participate in these protocols anonymously.
Is that what we're working on, Max?
Yeah, and if anybody wants to reach out to this gentleman, we know Pomp doesn't want to hear about us because it threatens his gravy train and golden goose with Orange Coin. But this guy seems like he might be interested. So if anybody can reach out to him, I'll send him 50 coins to get started as a welcome gift. Maybe he'll check us out. So if anyone has outreach skills, there's a group called ECROR, the Outreach Guild, and if you can help us with that, that'd be great.
Let me just finish this, and then I want to do one other thing.
Hey, you! Did you like this video?
It's already. I want to look at this. If this is a show notes, full episode. Okay, I'm just trying to see if he has anything about this person. And the answer is no. So let me stop screen sharing that. By the way, so I'm gonna wrap this up. And Frank, I was debating whether I'm gonna share this or not, but I just feel the need to for the greater good. And it's not at your expense. I love you. Frank, of course, is the actor Frank, who was a guest. Gosh, what was it, Max? Maybe a month ago. But I remember going to dinner with him, and Epic was right under 40 cents. And he was like, you know what? I am convinced when I get back, I'm going to pivot all of my crypto. He was a lot into DeFi, and he had some BTC, and he's going to pivot it and gonna plow it all into Epic Cash. Well, I've been a pebble in his shoe, following up and following up and following up. And I'm like, Frank, we're at $1 now. Where are you? Yeah, really busy. I just I gotta get back. And then what happened is DeFi apparently is kind of really, really hard if you're not kind of on it, if you're not doing it every day. So he had a lot of his crypto on a Trezor and couldn't get his Trezor to work. It was like dead. And so there were issues. And then it started to become disheartening because all of a sudden, we're at at what, up 372%. And it's disheartening when somebody is like, man, if I would have acted right away, it could have been under $1. And I just share that story with you in that, first of all, Frank, I shared with you, you can reach out to me, the community, any issues you're having of trying to get your shit off DeFi and over to Vite. We have a lot of smart people who can help. And if you're still having the issue with the Trezor, they said to plug it in and let it charge, because a lot of the issues when it's dead is it's just not charged. But I really, really want you, we kind of have a retrace right now to get back. And it's because I'm a pebble in your shoe because I love you. I want you to be able to get in. So we're not at $10 and you're not going to be, downtrodden because you're like, dang it. So it's worth the initiative and effort to go through whatever hassle it takes. And you can outreach to this community. We will help you. We will help you because I want to have you back on once you pivot everything into Epic Cash, so we can have that be a marker and talk about, what your portfolio would be a year from today. We'll have you come back on versus what it is with Epic Cash and whether or not it was the right decision. But this message goes out to everybody out there. It's like, so you didn't get it done yesterday as far as being able to pivot into Epic Cash. Well, there's no better time than today. But ultimately, procrastination is your enemy. And at some point in time, it's kind of like you're just going to arrive at a point of apathy that, yeah, well, I missed it. Epic Cash is now at $25 and gosh, I'm an idiot, but I should have, would have, could have. But guys, it's like, I don't know how to hammer it any harder. The time is now to go through, jump through the hoops to make it happen. Max?
Yeah, so I just put up on the screen here the relative ratio of how many Epic coins one BTC will buy you back to the beginning of time. So in March of 2020, there was a time when you could get 1 million Epic coins for a single BTC. Now that I think the volume was under $1,000 or even a couple $100 that day. So that's not really an accurate data point necessarily, but it is illustrative. And then 500,000, 400,000, March 2021, back when BTC went on that major run to 70,000, and we didn't really keep up. It briefly spiked up to 2, 3, 400,000, but then came back down on the long-term trend. So then 100,000 and then 50,000. And now today it's about 20,000, I think, something like that at current rates, maybe 17, 18,000, something like that. So you used to be able to get hundreds of thousands of coins. Now you can get tens of thousands of coins. What is that going to be going forward, knowing that that we have all these things coming? So at some point it'll be thousands to one, and then hundreds to one, and then tens to one, and then eventually 1 to 1 and less than 1 to 1. Why? Because there's only 16 million Epic, and there's effectively 50 million BTC, including paper, IOUs, fractional reserve, rehypothecation. So there's 16 million Epic, 19.2 million BTC, but effectively it's 3 times as scarce, and you can do a lot more with it. You can send more transactions for cheaper, it's faster, you have the privacy. It is hard for anyone who's not getting paid to say so, to argue that a CD-ROM or VHS tape should have a greater value than DVD or Blu-ray. That's just absurd once you have the eyes to see that. So right now, today, Frank and anyone else who's listening, you can get tens of thousands of Epic, and just kind of wait for scarcity to kick in, and you also can't impact the value of your BTC investment. Nothing really that you're going to do personally on a $450 billion market cap is going to have any difference. But a single video, a single outreach, a single article, a single comment, a song, a meme, anything at all can help move our needle. So it's not just different in terms of quantity, but also quality.
Yeah. And, everybody keep doing what you're doing, which is following along with this channel and getting involved in Telegram. That's where all the action is. T.me/Epic Cash is a great place to start. Also Freeman U, T.me/Freeman U. That's with a U, not a YOU. Those two places are where I direct people initially. And look, I was thinking about this, Max. Who's the dude that came out with the 10,000 hours?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember. I think Seth Godin, maybe.
It could be, but basically it's like whether you're a professional athlete or whatever, but you reach a really super level of unconscious competence, but you got to put in 10,000 hours. Max, I don't know how many hours I have, not just through live streaming, but through everything else. But I was thinking about that the other day, that there's going to be a point in time where I think I'm going to be able to say I have 10,000 hours in that, thanks to you and all of the great people within Epic Cash. And I hope a little bit of those 10,000 hours, I like to share them. And so please share this channel with others. And if there's a specific video that you like, share that with others. But the way that we are going to grow is one person at a time. And when you talk about a wet oar in the water, that's simply it. People know that I have been talking about a guy named Eric Schmidt. When I first got out of college, had my first job, moved to Tampa. I was in an office where my mentor was Eric Schmidt. Well, he recently retired, and we got together for lunch a couple weeks ago, and I educated him on Epic Cash, and now he is an Epic Cash community member and is going through the painful process of on-ramping fiat to Coinbase to get the BTC to be able to, but he is determined and dedicated to be a significant Epic Cash holder. And that's my message, is one person at a time, one Eric Schmidt at a time, who in your operating reality might be open to discovering a financial future that is going to be able to provide financial freedom. Let's get those oars in the water. Max, we have gone over just a little bit, but that's okay. Why don't you take us out today?
Time flies when you're having fun. Sorry for the echo. T.me/Epic Cash, and get involved. We also have Epic Cash ambassadors. If you want to help drive the bus, have your hand on the navigation wheel, join us at Epic DAO. There's Epic artists. Epic is what you make of it. And as JFK said, ask not what Epic can do for you, ask what you can do for Epic, and we'll get there a lot faster.
Amen. All right, everybody, come back in 48 hours. Epic Cash Live on Friday. We'll do this again. In the meantime, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday and Thursday, and can't wait to see you on Friday. All right, Max, thanks as always. You rock.